Yeah, whoa. Look, they can never keep me down, I'm going. And if I ever fail, just know I'll go again. I never quit, cause I know that every loss may lead to another win. I'm going up. I bet when I land, they gon' tell me it's luck again.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And we are back today to discuss another great episode of PowerBook 2 Ghost. This is season 4, episode 2, titled To Thine Own Self. Before we jump into the episode, please make sure you subscribe to this channel, like the video, and click that notification bell so that you continue to get updates about all of our posts. And tell your friends and family to join too. We appreciate all the love and support, and it would be awesome if we continue to spread far and wide to, people that haven't joined the spot yet. So make sure you guys do that. Now let's go ahead and jump into this episode because things are getting crazy. And I think that a lot of people are using their leverage, in a lot of these situations. So I seen Miss Effie really stepping her game up this episode and positioning herself as the top dog here. So first of all, these Russians, they get busted by the cops very first scene of the episode. Detective Carter and his people are on the scene and they're talking about getting the Russians, but they also talked about how they're very suspicious of Tariq's active shooter story and Detective Young's murder. And so we're going to revisit that topic in a second. But I wanted to talk more about these Russians and how it presented an opportunity for Noma, because she sees the stories in the headline and she's like, okay, let's hop on this. They don't have a supplier. Let's go ahead and fill in that void. And Obi, I guess she kind of put him up to it, but he was a little unsuccessful. And she was also very suspicious of Obi and the passports. So I was like, I don't know how long this man got.
He on borrowed time.
Yeah.
We say that every week.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's another one of those emasculated men that can't seem to break away. Sorry, Obi, but that's the way I see it. As far as Effie is concerned, we had the pleasure, of talking with her, but you'll see that soon enough. One of my questions for her is, how many masters are you trying to serve? You can only serve. You can't serve but one. But here she is trying to serve Noma. She's trying to serve Kane, and she's still running after Tariq for some strange reason. She won't let that.
I think she feels guilty about what she did to Tariq, and that's why she apologized for giving him up.
Yeah, but I was with Tariq when he was like,
yeah,
I'm out of here. No, I don't mess with you. No, because like you told her when he said, what did you think she was going to do?
Right.
Like, you told her, like, if Brayden didn't come, if Obi didn't took Brayden off and Brayden didn't come, Tariq would be dead. Yeah. And that would have been on Effie. So I don't blame him for not rocking her.
Exactly.
And even in the discussion with her, she just mentioned that she and Tariq have this history, and that's why she, I guess, is so compelled to find her way back to him in some regard. But what you did to him is like, I mean, can you slam the door any louder than that?
No, that's unforgivable what she did.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, Effie, she's very self-serving, I think, and you can see her trying to like order her steps this episode because she went to Diana and was like, you need to step up your game moving the product or whatever. Like Noma expects nothing less, you either in or you out, and or she said out with a bullet. So I was like, okay, so now she's kind of putting pressure on Diana because she already knows that she's about to start moving more weight. And we seen that when she stepped to Noma and she was like, I want a bigger cut. But, in order to get that, Noma was like, you got to bring the Russians to the table. So now they're expanding. And I see this plan kind of taking effect where she's going in and offering her services to this Russian guy to basically swap her swim time so that they appear better than what they are, so that this girl can get into the college program that she wants to get into. And so I'm like, Effie's very smart and she's very strategic, and she also has a lot of valuable skills that will benefit somebody in the criminal world. So I was a smart girl, but the way I'm not sure if she moves the way she should move because she rubs people the wrong way. It seems like she's already rubbed Tariq the wrong way. She's like we said, putting the pressure on Diana. She's rubbed Kane the wrong way before. And she almost declined to help Kane this episode when Noma put Kane up to trying to get the Russians back on to the table.
Well, that's because she had that interview. Like she had set up that interview for the Stanford thing, and so I think she said she ultimately wants to get out of the life, and that's her end goal. And so she's trying to get money to pay for it because you heard the woman saying to her that Stanford program is really expensive. So she was going. It was the only one interview left, and she sacrificed that for Kane. She knew that if Kane didn't deliver, he might be killed. And I'm saying all that to say because I don't want to give too much away about the interview that Ron and I had with Effie. But we asked her about her feelings for Kane and Tariq. So y'all watch the interview and listen to what she says about how she feels about them. And I think you will see this episode in a different light once you hear what she says.
Yeah, because at first I was thinking like, does Effie have aspirations of like possibly taking a top spot? Because like once she got the Russians back to the table the second time, the guy was kind of like, I only want to talk to you moving forward. So I was like, okay, so that puts her in a good spot to actually take the lead if she really wants to. And I'm like, well, does she want the top spot or is she truly in it to, have a means to an end?
Sometimes
so that's why I was like,
sometimes you can stumble into that spot, and I think that's what she's done. She helped out the daughter of the Russian, guy as far as the swimming thing, and he was very appreciative, even though he didn't show it. He was very appreciative of that, and I think he likes her chutzpah. I mean, she's got balls, and to step in there the way she did, and as you said, she's an extremely intelligent young lady. She knows what she's doing. Um, I don't know how, if I were she, how I would have handled Kane. I think Kane would have had to go someplace else because that was the only spot left. And, now she's jeopardized her career for Kane, who really doesn't give a damn about her.
Well, I don't know. I think Kane does still have a lot of feelings for her.
He does have a lot of feelings.
He appreciated that she helped him because she told him no at first, but then she came through and he was like,
he got things for her.
Yes.
Let me reiterate, or let me iterate here. Kane doesn't really care too much about anybody. I think he has feelings for her, but I'm not certain if they're the type of feelings that a woman would want a man to have. Kane just wants to, he wants to do his thing with her.
No, he's been feeling Effie, and he was waiting for the opportunity for her to reach the break and stuff. And that's what he even said, like in the last week's episode, when he said to her, he said, why you keep acting like you don't have feelings for me? He has a soft spot for her. He showed last season when he showed up to the prison and the lawyer when he pretended to be her lawyer. He sent his mom was going to try to kill Effie. He sent the phone. He warned her. He cares about that girl. He cares about that. The only thing is, I think he would still kill her though. If she betrays him, he will still kill her.
And there you go. So my thing is, what I see with Kane and Effie is that he has a lot of respect for her. I think that she's beautiful. He loves beautiful women. But I think that what he sees with her is, hey, this woman, if I had to have a woman, that would be my type because she's in the game. She knows the game. He has just a lot of respect for her. But as you said, if it came down to nuts and bolts, he'd kill in a minute. And that's what I'm saying. I because if you love somebody, that's not generally something that you would do. But Kane, I just think his loves have limits. And if he does care for her, it has limits.
Well, he think about who he was raised by, though. Look what we learned about this season. What we've learned these past few seasons about Monet. Like she loves her kids, but she got her kids in the game. We saw it, what she did with putting the gun in her baby's seat when they showed as a child. Like we saw that she was the one who really got the kids in the game, not Lorenzo,
right.
not
it was her.
So yeah, so you got to think about why Cain loves the way he loves
He
or the
does.
way he thinks.
Oh, I see it, but Iffy has to be extremely careful.
Yeah, I also see a conflict presenting itself because Cain might have some options. Because it seemed to me like Noma sent Obi away. And she told Cain, like, let's pour up a glass of scotch and talk. And so I was like, okay, is this Noma making her move on Cain? And if so, like, where does that put Cain? Because he might be intrigued by Noma. He might even, take her up on their offer. But if they get intimate, that presents a very challenging power dynamic. And Cain will always be in the palm of her hand, I feel like. And then with Effie also being involved in a business aspect, it's like this love triangle and this huge power dynamic between, top dog and underlings. And I'm like, it sounds like a mess. It sounds like a recipe for disaster to me.
You have opened up that can of worms, and I'm trying to tell you that is going to be a problem. And I guess that's what I'm saying for Iffy, because while you're caring so much about Cain and his and what he asks of you, you still don't know how far Cain will go with you, or how little it would take for Cain to just forget all about you and go someplace else. And when she asked him to stay for a glass of whatever, you saw the look on his face, and he was like, "Oh, okay. Are we going there? I'm good." So Cain, if those two hook up, you can forget about Noma. You can forget about you can forget about Monet. You can forget about Tiffy. It's on.
And think about how that would be for Effie.
Oh, yeah, and Obi.
And Obi.
Oh, Obi's
He's
first.
gonna have Obi's spot.
Oh yeah,
because it's already we already see the breadcrumbs being left. Like her questioning about the green cards.
Yeah.
Her when Effie first stepped to her, she was like, "Oh, I like a woman with moxie. You have a lot of moxie and stuff." And that she was able to bring the Russians to the table when Obi wasn't. So he's already, his usefulness is already wearing thin. And then Cain being able to finish her words, her thoughts. So she's like, "Oh, we're in sync."
And Obi getting arrested and questioned by car. It's like, oh Lord, this man, he better hope that he get jailed before Noma get to him ultimately.
And the fact, and Cain isn't going to forget the fact that he choked him, and he said he said to Noma, "Get your guard dog off me." So he's not going to forget that. So yeah. Time is short for Obi. Sorry.
And then just going back to Effie real quick, but if this thing really does go down between Noma and Cain, think about how that would be for Effie, because you gotta work for the woman that stole your man. I mean, wow. What can you do in that situation? You basically just gotta lay down and shut up.
Lost your man, you lost your career.
And lost two men because she lost Tariq.
Oh, that's true.
And then she lose Cain, and then she sacrificed that opportunity to help Cain.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be a mess. So I'm like, I don't know if that's where it's going, but that's where it looked like it's going. If we're talking about early predictions.
That's just 3-strike rule.
Yeah. So speaking of people who are sleeping with their underlings, Mr. Davis out here getting suspended and sleeping with the employees. But Detective Carter gave him a very sounds like a really good deal, just for the chance for Davis to be able to practice law again. I feel like he would probably give up most things for that opportunity, because it seems like law is really a big part of his life. But when it comes down to giving up clients, it seems like he's really hard on not giving up Tariq. And we gave him the game ball last week for how he held Tariq down when he was offered a big chunk of money to give him up. And here he is again, kind of proving that he's loyal to Tariq and he's gonna hold it down. But I'm like, for how long? How long he's getting disbarred possibly?
Well, he's going. I saw some previews with Tariq asking him. I think help him get another connect, and he was asking for 20%. So it's going to cost Tariq. He's standing on business for Tariq now, but eventually it's going to cost him as usual.
And I think he'll give Detective Carter just enough, but not too much. He knows how to circumvent, and so I think that he'll give him enough to get started with something, but it'll pan out to be nothing because he is pretty slick with it. He's slick. Let's just put it that.
I don't think he's gonna stick.
I think that not to the point that anything will stick, but it's just to me he likes going to the edge. And he won't jump, but he likes to go to the edge, and he knows how to come back. So I'm really carefully watching the way he works.
Of course. What I was watching for, and I need answers. I thought Davis was married, and this episode in the first episode, every time he getting it in with somebody, I'm like, where is Mrs. Davis?
Right.
Tiff, what's love got to do with this?
I'm like, where is she? Where is she?
Because we ain't seen her since.
So I just see, does he have a bachelor? We never saw her.
We did. Her name was Paula, right?
That was the woman that he had an affair with.
Right.
Yeah, we never saw, because I remember watching Courtney Kemp's live, and she was saying that they had someone in mind, and she didn't say who that person was, but she had someone in mind that they wanted to play his wife, and they were going to take that in a different direction. And I guess when they didn't cast that person, they didn't go down that road. So I'm still wondering, like, is he still married? Like, he not moving like he married.
He knows that.
I ain't never heard of no divorce either.
Yeah, no, he's playing that 48-hour rule with his wife. You know that very well.
Right now, I don't know what that's gonna happen. I hope Davis holds it down. But talking about Tariq and Brayden, they are both being viewed both heroically and suspiciously on campus. So you got people that are really like, oh, y'all did a great thing. Like I'm so like intrigued by how you handled this shooting situation, blah, blah, blah. Then you got other kids who are like, I don't know. It looks kind of crazy. Then other people are kind of blaming Brayden for his mom losing his pension. So I'm like, they getting it from both ends. And, Tariq also is dealing with a lot of financial hardship because he can't afford to really pay for the stuff that he needs to now that he's out the game. He has to take on cleaning roles on campus in order to make it through. So times are hard. I mean, heck, even for Tasha, it looks like she working at the local Kmart or something. I'm like, dang, how the mighty have fallen.
Oh my, that's what I said. I was like, wow, what a fall from grace. I think about the episodes when she used to be shopping and how Keisha in original Power was envious of all the stuff that she had, and here she is at Kmart, Walmart, whatever and stuff. But I knew the way Tariq was looking at that man, I knew Tariq was gonna get at him. I was like, look at his face. He don't play about his mama.
Exactly.
Well, first of all, let me see how I can unwrap this for you. Tasha, you kind of get what you pay for. Okay. I know you don't like this tip, but I'm just going to have to say it. You get what you pay for. You knew a Ghost. If you didn't know when you first met Ghost, you knew after some time what this man was about. You trained up your son to do what he, of course, wanted. If anything, he definitely didn't want his son following behind in his footsteps and doing drugs and so forth. So that was, and when you taught him the game, if there was any chance that Ghost could love you, you threw that key right out of the window. There was no more chance than that. Your fall from grace has a lot to do with a lot of things. And I'm not saying that Ghost was not culpable. He was probably even more so than you, but you kind of opened the door to all of this, and now you are where you are. So in your getting, just don't forget how you got it, because once you start to forget where you came from, this is what can happen to you. So I don't know, I feel sorry for her, but yeah, Walmart's a pretty low job to have if you come from from the mountaintop like that.
A penthouse in Tribeca,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I find it hard to feel for people who kind of set themselves up to be.
They've all set themselves up. Tariq
Oh, I
chose
agree.
that life.
Tariq too.
Brayden
Yeah.
chose that life.
Right.
Tasha
Yeah.
chose that life.
No,
And
no,
so
I agree.
now here they all are. And, we keep hearing them repeat, like, oh, maybe a regular life isn't so bad, blah, blah, blah. But they're not willing to sacrifice the money. They want the money. They want the prestige. They want the lifestyle. And here you see Brayden complaining about his real estate job, Tariq and his little cleaning campus job, Tasha in her department store. So it's like, they fallen from grace, but I think that they see, especially now, that they really are in desperate need of money because the money is really what affords them the access that they need for certain luxuries that they're used to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Tariq, he came to that realization when he's like, okay, my mom is struggling, and she got this dude, over her yelling and screaming and putting his hands like, first of all, that manager, he's getting the hands from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because manager Chris did way too much pulling at Tasha, and the way he was talking crazy at her, he definitely gets the hands, and Tariq definitely smashed up his hands. So
yeah,
I was not mad at that.
Yeah,
I didn't.
But I was just like, that was enough to put that fire back under him and make him like, okay, I got to get money somehow. And that's why I was like, I'm not mad at him wanting to provide for his mom.
No.
But this is what Ghost was trying to tell you about the lifestyle and what it leads to.
Well,
there's no happy endings for the drug dealers.
Tariq and Brayden, were walking down memory lane thinking about how they could have turned out, what they could have turned out to be. But now you reach this point of existentialism where you now know that the game is what provided you all these wondrous things. And now you're trying to struggle to find a way back in, which honestly, I don't see what or how that could come to be, because Noma said to them, "You're out, and you better remain out." So it's going to be interesting to see how you can come back in some fashion while Noma is still hovering over you with her threats. So, what is it?
Get a new connect. That's why I said they're going to get a new connect, and then remember we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it yet.
No.
But some way, Tariq is going to connect with Anya, and that's going to be the leverage with Noma.
Mm-hmm.
You said that last episode. I want to see that. I want to see how that happens, because
listen, I saw a clip online. They showed the trailer and stuff, and they showed him being. It looked like it was Anya. It showed him being intimate with Anya.
Okay, and
stuff. So it's going to get to that point.
How does Tariq find himself? I mean, if Noma, what happens when Noma finds that out? You think it's going to be open arms for Tariq and say,
"Okay, he slept with Diana. He was messing with Diana, knowing how dangerous Monet and the Tejadas are. He messed with Diana. So I don't
look, man. Look, they say cats have 9 lives. I wouldn't push it.
Or maybe it's just the youthfulness gives you this kind of, untouchable mindset. Like you are just nothing happened to you. And so I think that Tariq has a little bit of that too. But like y'all said, I think that this whole situation, Tariq, he has a plan in mind. And I think, like you said, he was very fed up with the lifestyle. I think that Hoopty breaking down on him was his last straw.
Yes.
Like, nah, this ain't it. I got to get back on top. So him going and stealing his car back from 2-Bit, I was like,
I was happy
up at that scene.
Exactly.
That was like one of my highlights this episode because I really enjoyed that scene.
I did too. My son was thinking that 2-Bit he was just like, that'll probably be the last we see of Two Bit. And I was like, nah, he was a fan favorite. And I was like, they ain't gonna let him go out like that. I said he probably gonna try to come back after the car. And y'all, I'm just guessing. I didn't make any predictions. I don't know for sure about the Anya, all of that stuff. I'm just guessing.
Throwing stuff out. Yeah,
and
and
I
I
see
see
my
like
there
maybe
based on what I saw.
That's a good point though, Tiff, because if he's going to get back into the game, he may find a way to work with Two Bit.
that's what I'm saying, because they need manpower. Like Brayden is clearly kind of flaky here and there. Like sometimes he's down the ride, sometimes he's not. If they gonna go up against Noma and all of these hard hitters, and now Noma got the Russians on her team too, Tariq is gonna need a hitter in his corner, like somebody reliable, somebody who is familiar with the streets, who's not gonna hesitate. That's Two Bit.
Two Bit is a soldier for sure.
Yeah, and so I can see that. I can see that coming about. Two Bit realizes that it was Tariq that stole his or took back his vehicle.
Look back, right?
And but somehow, with Tariq's finesse, he talks him into getting with Tariq, and I can see that happening now. So
yeah, the only other thing that Tariq really has to be mindful of is the fact that Detective Carter is on his tail, like hot on his tail. And now we got some context to why Carter is kind of like scorned in a way, like he's got a vendetta against these drug dealers. And we found out this episode, thanks to Davis doing some digging, he was like, no, Carter is a viable threat. Like his wife was murdered by some drug dealers outside of the emergency room where she worked at. And so he took his bereavement leave, but after that, he was like hard hitting on getting the drug dealers. And so that puts Tariq and Brayden in a particular line of fire, because not only are you a drug dealer and that's who I'm pursuing, but also you killed a federal agent. You killed a fellow officer in blue. So it's like, okay, that's two strikes against you.
Well, and it seems like he knew the family, because when Paz came to me, he was like, hey, Paz, like he already knew Paz
and your estate,
family.
Patrick.
So I'm wondering, I'm just like, are we going to find out? Did he grow up with them? Is he from the neighborhood? Like
the way he described Ghost, and he was like, you smell like him. Like, County, you've been mentioning that comment, and I was like, he was saying it in a different light, but he was saying it with like he really had a hatred towards Ghost, and I was like, dang.
He's short-lived, and let me say this, because I the more bringing that up, and the more I now think about it, it would make perfect sense for Tariq and Two Bit to get together, because Two Bit is the muscle, and if that indeed happens, Two Bit will take him out in a heartbeat.
Well, and they don't need to be taking out no more cops.
No, I was going to say, I don't know that he would take.
You're almost going to have to, because Carter is a mad dog in this regard. He is going to press until he gets what he wants. And being a lone dog out here like that, because you're really not having anybody, on your behind you, or no one's got his back. He's doing this alone, this lone wolf thing. So it's dangerous for him to be coming at Tariq and in that fashion, because you kill one cop, two cops, that third is just, that ain't hard.
Or could it be that, what happens to all the overzealous cops in the show? They're going to get taken down one way or another. So could it be also that, Carter mentioned this episode that he has some friends over at the bar or whatever association that could reinstate Davis. Could it be that this, like, I scratch my back and, I'll you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours? Could some of those trade-offs for favors be frowned upon or even illegal, and that be the way that Detective Carter gets caught up? Because we've seen Angela, we've seen Sachs, we've seen all these people try to do favor for favors, even down to what's Lorenz Tate's character? I'm forgetting his name right now.
Councilman Tate.
Councilman Tate, duh.
Councilman Tate.
Yeah, so like when all of these higher ups are doing favors for favors, they always seem to get caught up somehow, because a lot of the times the favors they doing are not legal.
Well, yeah, I
So
mean,
I'm like,
you can't
maybe that's how Carter's out of here.
you can't be an officer of the law and then have this quick pro with with drug dealers and things, and that could be a way that he goes down. But it's just, you know, it's just something says to me he's gonna rub Tariq the wrong way. But let's see in the next couple of episodes, because if he and Two Bits get together, that's gonna change the whole ball game.
I would. That's a fire idea to me. I think that would be an amazing link up.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tariq needs the manpower too.
Definitely does.
So, yeah. So, last thing we're gonna talk about this whole situation with the Tejadas. So, Drew and Diana, all the kids have been tasked by Monet to find her shooter, and Drew is pretty much just going with the motions. He really is not interested in trying to pursue anybody because he knows the truth, obviously. And so Monet, you know, she's been having these flashbacks, like we discussed this episode, and she's kind of faced with how she brought up her kids, and her initially blaming a lot of it on Lorenzo. She's realizing now that, oh, I'm the problem. I've been the problem from the get-go, like you said earlier, Tiff. So now she's kind of faced with her own decisions and all of the mistakes that she's made. And instead of really giving Drew a genuine apology, which I feel like that could have been the turning point for him. Like maybe he would have changed his perspective and his vitriol that he has for her if she would have given him a genuine apology for all the stuff she's done. But instead, she goes on to justify it. And that just pisses him off even more. To the point where he's about to switch her pills, which I cracked up at. I was like, Drew is a mess.
Diana, I know. I said Drew is something this season. Diana was like, "You better not." But you know what? She did like it. She did try to justify herself and did not give him the apology he wanted at first. But towards the end, later on, she did say something to him like, "Hey, is it too late? You know, to get you back and stuff." She did acknowledge, and he was like, the fact that you're asking is a start.
Right, but then she proceeded to ask about did he find her shooter, and so it still makes it seem like you always gonna want something out of me. It's like your love is conditional.
And well, and therein lies the problem with she and her kids, because here she is, you know, trying to get them, you know, or trying to get them back, if you will, or she in some way wants to have them forgive the way she brought them up, or something to the effect. I'm actually I'm a little confused as to what she's trying to gather, because in one breath you have this sorrowful need to get them back to you, but then you're pushing them right back out, asking them to find the person that shot you when you were lying in the hospital thinking maybe it's time to get out. Now, one thing I like about what Kane said, he may have said it in a rather cruel manner, but he said, like, old lady, it's time for you to sit down.
Hang it up.
Yeah, when she went out there with the Russians and blew the deal, he was like, you know, my son said the same thing. He said he kept it 100 with her. He said she out there looking stupid, making them look crazy and everything, and could have got them killed. So, so yeah, he did tell her it was wrong and uncut, but he was
truthful.
Yeah,
and the crazy part is that Monet really has the nerve to blame Kane. Like she's suspicious of him as being her shooter, and I'm like, of all people, the Kane is actually putting the most genuine effort into trying to find your shooter, and here your other kids are the ones that really plotted it. So I was like, Monet really is, she's barking up the wrong tree with that one.
But I like the fact that Tariq and Monet had a chance to talk, because now I think with Tariq letting her know that it was Tommy's mom that that what was he saying? That gave
So he
that
basically Tariq was basically letting Monet know that Kate Egan was
right,
the one that said Monet went after Tasha and gave Tommy Tasha's address
right.
because she wanted her. And so they're like, well, why would Kate say all this stuff? And she was like, well, maybe she wanted you dead. And then they're like, well, who put Kate up to that? So now it
Right.
begs like, who's really the source?
And that's going to bring it back to Diana.
Yeah,
Hello.
that's what I'm gonna say. Because I was wondering, I was like, is she gonna go see Kate? Because it makes me wonder. Because I'm like, I was thinking about timelines. Because I'm like, is Kate still in New York? Is she in Chicago? Is she gonna go see Kate and Kate not be there because she's in Chicago, or is this gonna be before she goes to Chicago?
Right.
I
So
could, yeah. This is interesting because it's going to come back to Diana. You know.
It
and
is.
now that makes it complicated because little Miss Diana has found out that she got a bun in the oven,
Mm-hmm.
who we can pretty much say is Tariq's kid.
I don't think now is it Tariq's kid
Or Celine.
or Salim? That's who I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah, because
That's
she
who
was
I'm
getting
thinking.
it in with
She
Celine.
Yeah,
did get in with Salim,
yeah.
yeah, but I hope it's Tariq's kid because that makes it
Look,
a more interesting story to me.
it does make it an interesting story, and Celine is lame. So,
Right.
Yeah,
I'm rooting for it to be Tariq because I'm like
mhm.
that spices things up because
yeah, but the
then
last person she was with was Celine.
No, it was Tariq.
Was it Tariq? The
Right,
last
it was
person?
Tariq because he and Effie had just broken up, and when Effie came to the door, Diana opened the door and stuff. No,
No.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. She went. She did she come see Diana and Tariq? She went to see Diana and
Right.
Tariq was there, and that's how she found out.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I thought the last person she had slept with was Celine, but I've
Mm-mm, mm-mm. It was Tariq.
and so okay. So oh, well, luck.
yeah.
We don't know what's
I'm like that spices things up and that gives Tariq maybe a layer of protection with Monet. I mean, he already they clearly don't trust each other. But the fact that that's her grandchild, possible grandchild, father, that could add a layer of protection for Tariq. Because Diana would have a fit if Monet did something to Tariq, if
you think she
that's her
would?
kid's
Do you
father.
think she would keep the baby?
I think she would. I
That's
think so. And let's say Diana also gets a layer of protection out of this too. Like maybe that will maybe solidify her relationship with Monique. I'm sorry, Monet, because if Monet finds out that Diana truly is behind this whole scheme with this shooting, then Monet might not come back at Diana to kill her if she knows she's pregnant.
that would be the only thing that keeps her alive.
Mm.
I just don't. I just,
That might back Kane off of Tariq too.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, well, I don't know. It would be
If
funny.
Diana is pregnant.
That would be such a funny scene to when Diana breaks the news to Tariq that you got.
Yeah, and it's like, where does that put Tariq, man? Because
Well,
sheesh,
that's
I
why.
mean, he already broke trying to get back on his feet and whatnot, and now you got a kid on the way too,
But
and
see,
you working and living in this dangerous lifestyle.
but
I mean,
the thing is, I don't know if she knows. She said she knows who the father is, but I'm still a little doubtful that she does. And I think that would be the one reason she doesn't keep the
Listen,
child.
I think she
listen.
was just upset that that lady was
Yeah,
kind of
I
like
didn't
Yeah.
like how
throwing
that
off
doctor. I don't like
stereotypes.
how that doctor
Oh,
was talking to her.
exactly.
She was racially profiling
Exactly.
Diane.
Exactly.
Yeah, talking about the right family dynamic and do you know who the
Yeah,
father is and
you
all this
didn't
stuff.
know who
I
the
was like,
father is.
Well,
she could get the hands.
even though in the natural sense it may have been racial profiling, but she was also telling the truth because you have
But
to
she
ask.
don't know that. Like, what do you mean?
No, no,
How
no.
you
I
gonna
said
just
I
assume that she don't
no,
know who
no.
her father?
I
Father.
said no. What I said was it does appear it was racial profiling, but then when we look at the actual sense of it all, you're bringing a child up in a dangerous family.
Mm-hmm.
But the doctor don't know that. That's the thing. She
Well,
Right.
made an assumption when
hey,
she was
Tiff,
talking to her.
I said I agree with that, but I'm still what I'm saying is even though she said that and it was racial profiling, the irony is it's true.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean it is true. It
It is
is true.
true.
But that who told her to say it? I mean, she don't know. She don't know Diana from a can of paint, and she just automatically assumed that she didn't know who the father of her child was, and this and this and the other. Like that was.
She may be a prophet, so who knows? I don't know, but
she was racially profiling. She was tripping. She's on my hands list this week.
Right.
Agreed. No argument there. No.
Yeah, so I don't know. This is getting very, very like I think the plot lines can get very intertwined here along the way. Like we have all of these possible situations that could either provide protection or be a downfall for some people. We'll see. Especially when we talked about Kane getting into the relationship with Noma, possibly that could be a plus or a minus depending on how things go. Diana being pregnant by Tariq maybe, could be a plus or a minus for both of them. We'll see. I just know that Monet, she needs to chill out because she done passed out this episode, and her sister Janet, played by Golden Brooks, shout out to her. She kept telling her, like, you need to slow down. Everybody's telling Monet to sit down, chill out, take it easy. And she keeps getting up and running the streets and stuff like that, and she's fresh out of the hospital. So it's like, you keep playing around and you really might be back in the upper room. Because passing out and also having Effie have to drive her home and stuff like that, like it really is a show of weakness on Monet's part. And if she's trying to reestablish her organization too, it's like it's not a good look.
No.
Yeah, even Noma was like, Monet, go home. You should be here. And she even said to Kane, like, you get your mother together. Like, she almost messed this up for me, and now you gotta fix it.
Yep. So
I wonder I wonder if Noma meant fix it by fix her.
No, she meant fix the deal because the deal fell apart. Because when the Russian came, he was like, "What is she doing here?" And even Effie was like, "What the F is she doing here?" It was on site, and so had she not been there, that deal would have been able to go through. And that's what Noma was saying to Kane, like, you gotta control your mom. She blew my deal, so now you gotta fix it.
But Kane even said to her, "If I go to the Russians, they'll kill me on the spot." And so he's got moxie because he walked in there, even though he walked in there with Iffy. That took some balls because he is.
He also volunteered them guns that Noma had, and she was like, "We gonna talk about how you just volunteering stuff." So I don't know. This is setting up to be a very good season. Like you said, they are going out with a bang, and I feel like these little breadcrumbs that they're planting. Oh my goodness, when they come to fruition and everything boils over, it's going to be a mess this season. I can see a lot of casualties on the horizon. I think we are definitely calling Obi is out of here.
Yes.
I think
Noma might have Kane do it.
Maybe. I could definitely see one of the Tejada kids going.
Yeah.
If not Monet herself.
I think Monet might end up in the Bing. And that's just my guess. She might die, but I think she might at the end of this might end up in the Bing.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to keep our eyes open and see what happens. We've talked a lot about who can get the hands this episode. Do y'all have any nominations for who gets the game ball? I would say Effie and Kane. They brought the Russians back to the table.
Yeah.
Davis is still holding it down.
Yeah, he held it down. Even though I'm where's the wife? That's it. I'm like, what's going on? But he did stand on business with Tariq. So okay.
Yeah. I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say Reek for protecting his mom. He stood on business with that guy. I don't blame him for doing that, but I feel like there's gonna be consequences because they said
that right.
He got one. Remember, Don Carter already said that she got like one more chance before she's booted out of WITSEC. And something will tell me that that's probably gonna get her booted out of WITSEC.
Exactly, because he's not that man. He will complain, and he will, and you know, it just shows that there was a relationship with Tariq.
And there's cameras everywhere these days. They probably, pull up the cameras and stuff and see it was Tariq. And they're not even supposed to be communicating and stuff.
Exactly. Right.
So once they see that, they're gonna bounce her out, and Tasha might be in danger.
I was about to say Tasha might be on the who's gonna die this season list.
Well, Tariq better get his crew together very quickly because it ain't looking good. So I see Iffy standing tall after all of this is over. She'll probably.
I think right now, but I think Effie might go too in the long run.
I don't know.
I can see that. Yeah, because she definitely is playing both sides of the fence.
I can see a whole nother season with Effie.
You always say that. You sweet on Effie.
Right.
You always say that. I think she's standing tall now, but I think because she, as Tiara said, plays both sides, she could be a snake. I think that's going to come back to bite her.
And Noma could see her alliance with the Russian and her being their point of contact as a threat to her position. So Noma might be like, you trying to come from my spot.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
That's why I said that was a crazy game to play with the Russians. I mean, to be in between the Russians and Noma, that's just doesn't look like a win-win in any situation, but we'll see.
Yeah. So this was a good episode. I really, really enjoyed it. To all the viewers out there, please drop down in the comment section and give us your thoughts on this episode as well as your predictions for the remainder of the season. Also, make sure that you check out our upcoming interview that we have with Effie's character. You are going to thoroughly enjoy that. I was not present, but Tiffany and Ron definitely held it down in this roundtable style discussion. So that will be dropping very, very soon. And you guys are going to love that conversation. Also, make sure you are subscribed to our channel, like the video, and click that notification bell because we got more great content coming, more great interviews. Powercast is possibly going to be coming to us, so we'll definitely make sure that we try to get more folks from the cast to give us some insight on this season as well. So that notification bell is going to be very, very important. Follow us on all of our social media platforms as well. At the Spot Real Talk, if you want to keep up with us, if you want to chat with us on there, see what we got going on, that's always a plus for you guys. And tell your friends and family as well. I say this before, I'm going to say it again. We need your love and support to continue growing our platform and continue with the outreach. So let your friends and family know about the Spot Real Talk and tell them this is the place to be if they want some in-depth thoughts on their favorite shows. You guys got anything else?
You say it with such enthusiasm. I just love it. Yes.
It's the truth.
Yes, indeed.
So, on that note, I think we're going to call it a night. Thank you guys again for watching, and make sure you're back next week for another recap of PowerBook 2 Ghosts. Good night.
Good night.
The city is up in the madness. The people is giving the damage. They turn into animal savage. So rhinos and hippos and mammoths. The hero was coming, I'm locked in. You know that I'm winning, I'm top 10. You know that I came from the dog pen. You want it, you get it, you drop dead. The rebel who came from the bottom. My enemies know that I got it. I'm planting my seeds and gardens, then watching them sprout and harvest. The greatest was always in my plans. Battle the kid is white flags.